Hello, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys. You are now entering Season 2 of the Swan Hockey Podcast. Swan Hockey is flying around the junior hockey world one episode at a time. You'll experience things dreams are made of, as well as things of terrible nightmares. Strap in, hold on, and enjoy the ride. And now, Swan Hockey.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Swan Hockey Season 2. I am Eric Swanik, and I am joined again by Ryan Swain from Swain's Hockey Skills and Development. Before we get into this, want to remind everybody we have the new way of doing the streaming rewards. You can get more information on swanhockey.io or the Discord for if you're participating in Season Pass or Swan Hockey Digital. Season Pass is our free rewards program. Again, you can get more information on that at swanhockey.io. You can also join the Discord to get assistance with that. And we want to hear from you in the Discord. Let us know what you think of these episodes. Weigh in on the topics. So one thing that I want to talk about today, so as we're navigating this hockey journey, one thing that I think it's very important for people to realize is so many people are waiting for that big click. They're like, oh, I can't wait till this clicks into place, or I can't wait till, I just can't wait for it to click and everything fall into place. And what people need to realize is the click doesn't exist. There's no such thing as everything clicking into place. The quote unquote click that you see when you see one, different players in the hockey world where they quote unquote catch their break, it all clicks into place. The click is just the very end of a longer process of consistent great work. There's never a big click. There's small increments, small little victories, small little wins every day that over the course of time equal what you see as the end result of the click. And one area that I want to focus on that right now with Ryan is skill development. So for anybody that doesn't know Ryan trains guys from the real little guys all the way up to players at the NHL level. And so as somebody in the training space that's training these guys, I want to talk to Ryan about those increments, the whole training from kind of beginning to, beginner levels all the way up to the highest level in the world, and what differences there are, what stays the same, what that progression, what those increments along the way look like. So Ryan, where do you want to start?
Well, thanks for having me again.
Yeah, of course.
It's always a good time getting on here and, chopping it up a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like you're becoming a regular. That's why
good.
I feel like I don't have to welcome you each time now.
Yeah, for sure.
Happy to have you.
Fun. Where to start? I mean, I guess if you start with the off season, or really if you start with in season first, because guys are still practicing, obviously, and some people they're doing extra stuff. Like we're skating with a bunch of kids in the morning before school right now. Some small, some midget aged. Again, it depends on the individual or whatever what you want to get accomplished. But just in general, I think the biggest thing today, honestly, before we even talk about the actual training process, is just like almost FOMO, like the fear of missing out. If you're really any age, honestly, if you're any age player and you're, let's just say, AA, AAA, there's something for you to do like every weekend if you want, meaning, there's all these super duper tournaments, super duper travel, super duper hotels, like tons of money, like. And I'm in the space as well, obviously. Like I host some everything else, try to provide like a better experience more than just
Sorry,
hockey.
you cut out. You said you host what?
We host some of those tournaments as well in the
Okay.
spring and summer. We try to offer, more than just hockey, to provide an experience for the players and the families, like some giveaways, skills competition, et cetera, et cetera. And also some of these, like I'm saying super duper, like kind of like poking fun at it a little bit, but
Yeah.
like a lot of them, they're really well run. Like they do a pretty good job. Some of them are better than others as far as like the overall experience, but just in general, like if you live within an hour of a rink and there's a bunch of summer tournaments and you're going to go play on the weekend, like I think that's amazing that you could do that, right? But if you're getting in the car, driving 4 or 5 hours, or getting on a plane, every weekend or 2-3 times a month in the summer and the spring, like I think you really gotta like peel it back, because you're missing out on all the time you should be training, and a lot of it obviously on the ice, but in the gym as well.
Yeah,
Everyone wants to get
100%.
bigger, faster, stronger. You want to get bigger, faster, stronger. Well, you're not getting bigger, faster, stronger getting in the car, getting on a plane on a Wednesday or Thursday, playing all weekend, sleeping in a hotel, playing 4 or 5 games. Like you're just not. And I know that, a lot of the younger kids, sometimes people even think that the summer and spring tournaments are more valuable than the in-season tournaments, because there are, at least the high-level ones, there's a good amount of exposure. But, like, pick 1 or 2 throughout the spring and summer that you have to really go to if you want to get some exposure. You don't need to be doing this every weekend, because you could if you wanted to. If you could afford it and you want to do that, like you 100% could pick a place to go every weekend and, play games, or go on vacation and play games, like whatever the case is. So
Yeah,
I think
100%.
like the fear of missing out is huge, because everybody wants to put on Instagram, everybody wants to put on Facebook, which is completely fine. Like I get it. We use it for business tools all the time, and that's amazing. But if you really want to get better and like the stuff has to translate, you need hours and hours and hours of work on the ice and in the gym. There's really no other way to put it.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because we just had a Swan Hockey newsletter go out this morning, and it was saying that one of the biggest misunderstandings is that people think that that teams are made during the summer at these events, whether it's combines or main camps, where the biggest bulk of your tryout is your in-season play. I mean, there's pretty much nothing you could do at 3 days of a combine or a camp or a showcase or whatever that's going to erase the 50 plus games, for better or worse, that you played during the season. And I think that's one of the biggest misunderstandings from players in junior or going into junior. I think that's one of the biggest misunderstandings by them and their families. And, everybody's always looking for the end first. Like, okay, how do I get the exposure? How do I get the exposure to go here? But it's like, expose what? There has to be a foundation. You have to have something to expose. And that's where, for me, the skill development process is so important, because I use this terminology in a couple earlier episodes and I use it loosely, but it's a race to get your skill set to the NHL level. The NHL is pretty much everybody's ultimate dream. How do you get, instead of trying to figure out, hey, how do I catch lightning in a bottle and get everything to quote unquote click, right? Which doesn't exist. The focus should be, how do I become an NHL level player? How do I get my skill set to the NHL level and do that as quick as possible? And that's where you come in.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to, like, I don't want to say do the same thing every day, because that could be taken the wrong way, but, you have to go on the ice. You have to go in the gym. You have to be mastering the basic skills that, everyone at that level has. Like, you talk to guys who are chomping, like, U16 to junior or tier 3 to tier 2 junior. It's like, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? Like, it's a big gap. But then you talk to like the pro guys who are, trying to go from the AHL to the NHL or the East Coast League to the AHL, whatever the case is. Like, the gap really isn't that big. It's very small. Like, everyone can kind of skate, everyone can pass, everyone can shoot. It's just the thought process that, we're not really talking about the Connor McDavid and Cale Makar and those, the elite 30 to 50. You're talking about kind of everybody else in the mix, I guess you could say. Like, you could plug in, and we've talked about this. I've definitely heard it on the show, like being a player or being able to play in the league. Like, I think to me that it's kind of like the easiest comparison. You could probably take, any AHL guy and throw him in an NHL game and he would do okay. But what would happen in 30 games? Like, you just, what I mean?
And I always say that, a player, somebody that could play in a game is, somebody that can play in a game. The show goes on. They're not going to cost the team the game. They're going to go out there. They're going to play fourth line minutes. They're going to come back even. Everything's going to be good. A player is somebody that, 80% of the teams want, that player on their team. Right. And I always use like, a USHL example or whatever to correlate it to junior, but exact same concept. And, at the upper levels, I agree. Everybody's, with the exception of your top end players, everybody's skill set's kind of the same. I mean, the human body to some extent has limitations, right? You can only skate so fast, can only shoot a puck so hard. It's going to be, your top end guys, your McDavids, your Crosbys are just flat out better. But, the difference between an NHL player and an AHL player is really between the ears. For a big part of it, the NHL players, they're just playing the game at a whole different level mentally, and not only hockey IQ and in game, but even some of the stuff they're doing away, whether, away from the ice, whether it's away from the actual games, where it's the training, the consistency, the, preparation, all that kind of stuff. They're just better in those areas. And, I want to, kind of go back to the, the original point is in terms of like the increments, right? Like where there is no click moving up the hockey ladder, progressing forward. It's small increments every day that, add up at the end. From a training standpoint, I want to dive into some of those, what that kind of looks like for you. Cause I imagine you have guys that are maybe, Pee Wee AA or Pee Wee AAA, Squirt AA, whatever, that are looking at your pro group on the ice and saying, I want to do what they do. Right. And they're kind of dismissing, not dismissing, like that's not the right word, but they're kind of focused on like, hey, I want to do that. Like, I can't wait till I could be done with what I'm doing and do stuff like that, when really they're never really done with it. Like, it evolves, right? Like the pro guys are at a different layer of almost like the same skill, is the way that I would describe it. But how, like, why don't you dive into it? I mean, this is your space.
I mean, yeah, like people probably look at some of the things that like you would do with those guys on the ice. And they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. They are so good. The drills are amazing. Like, they make any drill look good. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just to see guys at that caliber close up. It's so fun to do, and they make it look so effortless. But like, sometimes I'll have the same lesson plan for them that I do a group of squirts and peewees. It's just a drill that might take the pro guys like 6 to 10 seconds, takes those guys 20, 30 seconds. Or, we're going to do one phase of it and cut the second phase for the younger kids, because it's, it's a lot of information. It's a big sequence or whatever the case is. But like, just an easy example is, warm up. I'll usually do, typically a lesson with me will consist of, 15, 20 minutes of skating with or without the pucks. I would say usually without, at least to start. Basic edge work, inside, outside edges, some different edge flips and holds and stuff. But some of these things, like, it's literally the same thing that I would do with them and a group of younger kids.
Yeah.
And the younger kids, they don't want to do it. They're like, oh, why are we skating? This is boring, yada, yada. And then the pro guys, like, that's what they want to do because, they haven't been in skates in a month or two. They're just getting back into it. And let's say like week 1 with those guys, we probably skate for 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes. And they're on the ice once or twice a week. Then week 2, 3, 4, it's all right. We're going to cut the skating back to 20 minutes, then to 15 minutes. Then we're going to add pucks. Now we're skating 2, 3, sometimes 4 times a week. So it really just depends, but it never goes away. Like all of that things, like you can never be too good at that. And some kids are like, oh, I'm never going to do this in a game. Well, that might be true, this exact position or this exact hold for however long or however many reps you may not do, but you're just getting comfortable in different spots on the ice and holding different positions that will help you when you are in the game. So it might not be like, yeah, are you going to look like this ever in a game? Maybe not. Most likely not. But it will help you for when you are, with the puck on your stick or in an awkward spot, getting used to feeling your edges, different body posture, body position. It's all really important. And it's hard for kids to understand. And, you like I said at the beginning, the pro guys make all of this stuff look easy. So, you're watching them do something, you might be like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then you watch a group of like 10 or 12-year-olds do it. They're falling all over the place. It's taking forever. No one could do it. They look aggravated. And you're like, what is this? This doesn't even make sense. Why are we doing this? But over time, everybody gets better, right? So it just, everyone has to start somewhere. You have to build off of it. But like less is more. It doesn't always have to be, toe drag, Michigan, between the legs, like, how often do you see that stuff used in a game, right? It's more of the simple stuff that I feel like, 1, no one talks about, and 2, the kids, they don't really want to do that stuff because they're just watching highlights on Instagram.
Right. And I think the important thing is for everybody to realize what coaches want, it's these little things, these little details that make the difference, and that what the pro guys are extremely great at. Like one thing that you put a reel on Instagram, I don't know, probably a month or 2 ago now. And, I remember I remixed it or whatever. And the thing that I took away from the reel is your guys were doing a, very simple shooting drill, very simple. But one thing that I took away from it was every shot was on net. Every single one. Was every shot perfect? No. Were some of them wobbling? Yes. Were they all 100 miles an hour? No. Right? Were they perfect? No. But every single one was on net. Every single one would have required a goalie to make a save. Every single one had the threat of putting a point up on the board. Every single one had the threat of creating a rebound. All stuff that every coach wants. And you guys out there listening, you guys hear this, but a lot of you guys dismiss it. I mean, and again, let us know in the Discord, who here has ever been on a team where they got back skated because the toe drags were not good, right? Usually you're getting back skate, coaches fed up in practice where he's, finally says, hey, if you guys don't start hitting the net, if you guys don't start catching passes, we're just going to skate. I've never seen a coach say, hey, if you guys don't pick up the toe drags, we're going to skate. Right, same thing. You never see an analyst on TV. Oh, well, the Philadelphia Flyers, they just really didn't have their Michigans tonight. It doesn't happen. It's the basics that every coach demand. And I think that's one thing at the youth levels or the younger levels or the lower levels, where players, they might go through a lesson with you and it's kind of like, all right, like I'm not even going to focus on hitting the net. Like it seems so basic. I don't even want to think about that. When can we toe drag? Like where it's like, no, focus on the details, like hitting the net. That's so important. It seems so basic, and it is pretty basic, but that's something basic that so many players screw up time and time again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it sounds like nonsense, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
it's easy to say that. It sounds like repetitive and maybe even not important to some people, but like that video, for example, that rink that we stayed at in New Jersey, the brick rink, for anyone who doesn't know, if you're standing in there anywhere and you're the one yelling or someone next to you's yelling, you cannot hear anything. It is so loud, it echoes, right? So I'm just putting into perspective. Now, when you mentioned those guys hitting the net, when those guys are going through it, and listen, everybody misses the net, right? But let's say
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 of those guys are going through drills and pucks are getting snapped across and whatever. All you hear is the snap of the puck on the tape and the puck hitting the net dropping. You don't hear glass, boards, loud, bang. Like, you don't hear it.
Yeah.
You go through a peewee practice when the kids are shooting pucks at the wall, everyone's missing the net, kids are running into the wall. Like, it sounds like a thunderstorm's going on in the rink.
Yeah, you can't hear anything else in that building.
Can't hear anything. You can scream as loud as you want. You won't be able to hear what I'm saying from the goal line to the center ice circle. Like, it's just too loud. Those guys are out there, like, all you hear is the puck just hitting the net or the goalie saving it. You know what I mean? Like, they very rarely miss the net. They're trying to hit the net. It's a little detail that's like ingrained in them. They don't want to miss the net. They're pissed off when they miss the net.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those kids are like, oh, it's either elbow in, back bar, or I'm painting the glass.
Right. Yeah.
What I usually tell guys, like, I don't have goalies. I don't have goalies out at the skill sessions for the kids typically, because I feel like, we're here for the kids. The goalie kind of slows it down. Like, yes, it's nice to be able to shoot on a goalie, obviously, but if we're trying to get through reps and there's 2, 3 kids, one goalie, like, no disrespect, we're just not waiting for the goalie to get set. He's just there to take shots, and I feel like sometimes it slows the session down. So, it's very easy for a kid to look at a net and be like, oh, I'm just going to aim for the crossbar. I'm going to aim for the back bar, whatever. When I see the tendencies, everything's going wide or over the net, I'm just like, buddy, like, just aim for the middle of the net. Just hit the net. Like, stop trying to pick a corner. Most of the stuff I like to do is quick shooting anyway, or from the top. So I'm just like, get it off quick, get it to the net. We don't need you. Like, no one should need to practice walking down Broadway, stick handling 6 times and shoveling it top shelf to an empty net. Like, it just doesn't happen.
It's funny you say that, because I remember, I remember I had a coach I had a coach that a bunch of the guys were missing the net and everything, and he's screaming at him. He's like, stop. He's like, stop missing the net. He's like, look. He's like, you haven't hit the net yet. Aim for the dead middle. You're going to miss by 4.5 feet, and it's going to go off the bar and in. Because it was pretty funny. But, but like those details are just so important. Another one that I like too is like another one of your reels. It showed the guys just walking the line and shooting, walking the blue line and shooting, which again on surface level seems like basic, but just the way they were doing it. I mean, the way they were, and you could see some guys are better than others in terms of like underhandling the puck and just really, really being able to explode across the line because they're focused on what they needed to do, not, unnecessary stuff like extra stick handling, that kind of stuff. I mean, heads were up, everything. Like it was, it's going to sound weird, but like, it was really pretty to watch, and you could even see that certain guys are better at it than others. But like, that's again, like just something else that I took away just from looking at your social media, that, okay, here's something that most people would consider like, oh, basic, but there's really so much to unpack in that.
Yeah, there is. And I think the basics are super important, and you just want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, you go through those things, not because it's like boring or anyone has a gun to your head. It's just, what am I going to be doing in the game? If you're like, you're talking about for a walk in the line, for example, like if you're a defenseman, how many times do you get the opportunity to get the pass, low to high, walk to the middle, and shoot in a game?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know the exact answer, but maybe like 10.
Yeah, Very
And
common.
how many shots do you get through? How many shots do you get through? It's probably less than 10.
Yeah.
It's probably like, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other 5 times you're probably punching it back down the wall, or maybe you misread the play and you were late or whatever, and you're doing something other than shooting it. But it's just being ready for the one chance. Like, it only takes one time for you to do it right for it to work out. And now you have a point on your stat sheet, or you had a nice play and coach saw something or whatever, or you feel good doing it, like at a minimum.
Right. And everybody needs to understand it. Everything builds off of each other, right? So you just said that probably 5 out of 10 shots get through?
Yeah, like that would be amazing. Imagine you had 5 shots a game as a D.
Right. Now,
like,
yeah. Yeah, and to take that even farther, so if 5 out of 10 are getting through, right? Imagine if we could bump that to 8 out of 10. Right. And a lot of you guys can bump that to 8 out of 10 by being more explosive. Maybe you're able to walk the line quicker, right? You want to get more goals. You want to get more assists. You're able to get more shots through. Think about everything that we've just talked about in this conversation, how it all ties in, right? Hitting the net, getting those shots on net, walking the line, being able to walk the line quicker by underhandling and getting to your spot quicker and being able to get that shot off quicker. You might beat everybody else to the play. And you might bump that from 5 shots to 8 shots, which might equal 1 or 2 more points over the course of 5 games, which over the course of a 50-game schedule, you just added 10 to 20 points to your season total, all because you got really good at walking the line. And not for nothing, but, Ryan, feel free to dive into it. But I'm sure some of that edge work of walking the line comes back to what you were saying like 10 minutes ago of some of these uncomfortable positions that a lot of kids say, oh, well, I'm never going to be in this position in a game. Well, hey, it's not about this position in the game. It's about getting very comfortable on this edge, that edge, and bringing that with you to a real game situation, like walking the line and using those edges to be more explosive, to get more shots on net and to get more points.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely coincides with each other for sure. For sure. Something that I've said in the past is like, you're just trying to add something else to your tool belt. You might do it 300 times for 1 rep in the game, but obviously the 1 rep in the game counts for way more than the 300 reps in practice do. However, you're never going to do it in a game if you don't do it 300 times in practice.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's
300, call it 100, 500, whatever. Everyone moves at their own pace.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like the training aspect of all of this, like with me, is I think it's typically way more. Like obviously, I think skill detailed is a good way to describe it, I guess, versus like a team practice, because smaller setting, most of the time, the people are paying money and the kids want to be there. So it's not like you're forcing anyone to do these things,
right.
But they want to learn more, I guess. If you're at a team practice and you have a couple guys who are disinterested at any level, I feel like it brings the whole mood down of the practice, right? It's easy to have that in a team setting, but in a skill session setting, most of the time, like, everyone's really attentive and they want to learn, and you can see them thinking and like self-correcting and putting their hands here versus where I have mine, because everyone's body's different. Guys are taller, smaller, stronger, different lie on their stick. Like, it's not all cookie cutter, and you're getting kind of into the weeds, which might be too much for like the youth, super, super young kids, and parents, but it all like plays a role. Like, I like to tell guys when we'll do something, I'll introduce it and, I'll show it, but sometimes might look a little bit different for them just because of their body, their height, how low, how short their stick is, how tall the stick is. Like, there's so many different variables, but it's all attention to detail.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, all this stuff, so important. I mean, like at the end of the day, you guys want to move up to higher levels. I say it all the time, performance is king. You got to perform, right? And obviously the skill development is, one of the biggest, if not the biggest foundations of your performance. So super, super important. Anything that you want to end off with, Ryan, before we end it, make sure you guys all, check out swanhockey.com, join the newsletter. You're interested in training with Ryan, swainshockeyskills.com. Follow him on social media, reach out to him. Let us know what you guys think in the Discord. Feel free to throw in your thoughts, opinions. Ryan, anything you want to end off with here before we wrap it?
No, I think just, when you're building your spring and summer plans, I think less is more. Less travel, less tournaments, just train. Just simplify it.
Yeah.
It'll spend the money in the right areas, and the kid wants to go to the rink, bring him to the rink. If he wants to work out, get him in the gym. I think it's like we talked about before. It's got to be fun. They got to want to do it. But, if you're going to go away and travel all these places, I hope it's a family vacation, more or less living in a hotel room.
Yeah. I mean, you need the right balance. There's only 24 hours in a day. There's only so much budget. There's only so much brain energy. There's only so much physical energy. You got to spend it wisely. But yeah, no, I agree. And, guys, keep listening. We're going to keep helping you guys navigate all this stuff. And, I'm good. Ryan, anything else you want to say? Or are you good?
No, thanks for having me on, and be back soon.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, and I'm looking forward to it. So, all right, guys. Awesome. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the Discord, and, peace out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Swan Hockey Podcast. We remind you that season pass points are available to listeners. For more information, please visit www.swanhockey.io. Until next time.